doesn't need a little help in the relationship department? Huh? I got you covered. In this video, we're gonna take a look at the 5 best relationship books, as well as my favorite point from each. The first one is from a cult leader. I'll tell you about him in a minute, but there's a beautiful analogy in here on love. Imagine this. You're in a house in Hawaii, it's a hot summer day, and you're sitting there enjoying the view, overlooking the ocean. Life's pretty good. But what makes it even better is you're inside and you have this slight breeze coming through your home. Man, it feels good. You say, I want this breeze to last forever and never go away. So you go to the windows and you shut all of them so it doesn't escape. You go to the doors and you close them. Every single nook and cranny and crack that it could escape, you block off. In your attempt to try and hold on to the thing forever and control it, it kills the very thing you love, which is the breeze. And most people do that with love, relationships. They try and control and cling and manipulate things to their way of liking, not knowing that it's killing the thing they want, which is love or a healthy relationship. And there's so much advice out there. If you just type in relationships on YouTube, you'll see how to make them chase you, how to make them obsessed with you, say these 3 things and win them over. But that's not good relationship advice. It's like toxic relationship advice that gets clicks and views. The good relationship advice shouldn't be about controlling and forcing outcomes, because by the time you do that, you've already lost and you're killing the thing you want, which is love, the breeze. Let's really get this party started. Oh, that flavored water, that's the hard stuff. Let's mix up your view. So why do we try to control people and outcomes? You ever thought of that? These authors did. Oftentimes linked to it what is called an attachment style. And there's 4 predominant ones. This book, Attached, is all on those 4. I'll give you the 4 in a minute, but most of your attachment style comes from childhood, comes from parenting, comes from what you did or didn't receive as a kid. Now, not everything. They can be as recent as relationships that you had a couple months ago. The good news is these are not biological. You're not born with an attachment style. Chances are you've been programmed, so you can also deprogram yourself if you don't like the one that you're in. Now, what are the 4? Glad you asked. You can think of this like a 4-box grid. The first attachment style is secure. About 50% of the population is this. This is the ideal. To the people in the other camps, their relationships look kind of boring because we like that toxic shit. The first of the quote unquote unhealthy relationships is the anxious style. It's about 20% of the population. The main anxiety of this person in a relationship is the fear of losing that person. The fear of them going away, the fear of them being alone. So you'll see these people have a hard time staying single, and when they're in a relationship, they project all their insecurities onto their partner, which you can imagine can cause issues. Then there's a polar opposite. This is where someone is avoidant. About 25% of the population's here. This person's in a relationship, but it's more for their own ego. They think things like, this person is lucky to have me. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They got a bench of people on their Instagram DMs to replace them. This one doesn't work, I'll swap them out. The last camp is the fearful. These people are damned if they do, damned if they don't, because they can't live alone and they can't live with someone. They think all love is a scam, but they definitely have the most work. So which up attachment style are you? Attachment style is very useful, and I found very practical to see the own faults in your love. I was like 18 years old and I found out about this book, and it was like seeing for the first time. I don't know if it was the title, I don't know if it was the tone, I don't know if it was because the chapters were like 50 words each, but man, I felt good after reading this thing. I read it probably a dozen times. So much so that I became an unofficial ambassador. I kept copies of this in my trunk in my Buick, and I would like hand them out to friends like, dude, you gotta read this book. Even people I didn't know very well, I can only think what they thought, because one of the chapters at the end, chapter 46, ejaculates up the spine. This book is Way of the Superior Man. And it was the first book that turned me on to the idea of polarity. Just like there's up day, east west, hot cold, there's male and female, masculine and feminine energy. If you want a whole deep dive on this to really do it justice, I'll link down our own separate video on masculine and feminine polarities that you can watch after this. Why this book though? The biggest idea I got from it, how the masculine grows through challenge. This is why dudes with a predominantly masculine energy are competitive. Even how they approach dating. It's all about numbers, right? And quantity. How many women have you been on dates with? How many women have you slept with? How hot were they on a scale of 1 to 10? Dude, I bet you can't jump over that fence. Dude, I bet you can't go up and talk to that chick in the bar. That's how guys sort of operate, is through challenge. They like it. That's how they bring out their best version of themselves, like the coach who's challenging you to perform at your best. But the problem is that men, we take that masculine energy into a relationship, and now we get in the habit of challenging your woman, who doesn't operate in the same energy. She operates from a feminine approach, which is through praise. The opposite of challenging, praise and affirmation. Just take a look at Instagram. Go to a girl's profile, look at the comments. What are they gonna say? Gorgeous, slay, knock it out of the park, you're so beautiful, heart emojis, heart eyes. That's the praise. Then you go to a dude's bodybuilder account. What's it gonna say? Bunch of trolls saying your calves look small. Challenge. He's gonna take that comment and be like, oh yeah, I'll show you, and get the biggest calves in the world. If you're someone who wants to understand the complexities of women or the feminine energy, this book is a must read. And then at the end, you get to learn how to ejaculate up the spine. We're gonna start every video that way from now on. Next up, we have crucial conversations. Look how crucial these conversations are, you can tell. Tools for talking when the stakes are high. What is a crucial conversation? Round 2. There's 3 circles. In the middle is where you want to be. The second circle is the ring of safety. The third ring is where you want to avoid. You will take on either one of 2 extremes. The first is silence. What is this? This is withdrawing, avoiding, and masking. It's not that bad. Shutting down, not talking. Oh, I just don't want to talk about this right now. Oh, get away from me. Avoiding it, trying to change the subject, trying to get out of things. Can you solve problems from silence? No, you can't even talk to the person. But then there's the other extreme, and it's at the bottom. This is violence. This is where people are controlling in conversations. They label things or you, or they attack. You always do this. You never understand. You're always this way. You're this kind of person. And to the degree you drift further away from the circle, the pool of shared meaning, and the safety bubble, you can't open up. It's unproductive. Tools, questions, reframes, ideas to get into and back to the pool of shared meaning so you can ultimately solve the problem and continue the relationship is what this book's all about. The final book on this list. This book is by John Gottman. It's called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. Dude has like 50 plus years of marriage research under his belt, focuses on long-term marriages and what makes them work. He also finds what breaks people up in divorce. One of the biggest takeaways I've gotten from John Gottman, the wrong mindset people have with relationships is essentially, if there's anything wrong with this relationship, I'm in the wrong relationship. People are sort of betting on it to fail and trying to find an out. And then when that happens, shit gets hard, they leave. That's not really commitment. John Gottman says, I do is very different than I'll try. And that the most important part of relationships starts with you and your communication. That's why we focus on becoming the right person, not always looking for the right person. You've heard me say that over and over again, because that's the truth. If you're ready to become that person, work through these, I'll link down below where you can talk to one of our coaches and potentially join our coaching program to work with myself. It's 10 weeks, sort of a boot camp of self-development and becoming the right person, the best version of yourself. After 10 weeks, you won't even recognize yourself. Apply for it down below. What'd you think? Good, bad, somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video. Stop selling, start living. Cheers.